Good morning. My name is Erica Wonder Voice, also known as E Wonder. It is March 25th, a little after 7 o'clock in the morning. And I have something that I just want to share with you about you and me having one hand in all of our bullshit. Um, I Yesterday I was having a conversation with my girlfriend Ellen G. She's one of my best friends, and because of I'm going through something right now that's wilding out my whole life. And I I was born like this. This is where we need to start. I was born like this with one hand, four fingers, and a nub. And my whole life, I've been back and forth about how I feel about it and how I've dealt with it and all of that kind of stuff. And I've been really proud about where I am right now in my life with it. A few years ago, I had a problem in my shoulder where I woke up one day and I was in a lot of pain, and I ignored the pain for some months until I couldn't ignore it anymore. And then I went to the doctor, and it turned out my rotator cuff was damaged from overuse, because it's the only arm. Um, and that really hurt my feelings. It felt really unfair. And I went through a lot about, like, damn, it's my only hand, it's my only arm. Of course it's going to be overused. It's not fair that, like, I end up in pain. It's because I couldn't use my arm for a while. Other people had to drive for me. My kids had to carry stuff for me, and that was really, that was hard for me. So it made me, and that incident made me realize how much I don't ask for help. Um, I struggle with it because I think I'm better at it now because of that situation. But most of my life, my parents taught me that I could do everything everybody else could do. I learned how to tie my shoe when I was 3 years old. I knew how to write my name before I went to school. It was really important to my parents that I be physically independent and able to do for myself. And often when people ask me, so it never dawns on me to ask for help a lot of times, but even when people ask me, do I need help? Often it's people I don't even know, and that irritates me because you don't know me. And so what to you looks like I'm struggling, I'm not struggling a lot of times. It just looks awkward to you because you would be doing that with two hands and I'm doing it with one hand. Um, and and then sometimes even when I am struggling, what you don't know is that right in that moment, I'm learning how to do something with one hand because I'm going to need to do this thing again when you aren't around. So I need to, the struggle is me learning how to do it. So sometimes I need to be in that struggle, and somebody coming and doing it for me, is impacting and impeding how good I'm going to get at learning how to do it by myself. So it often irritates me when people ask me, do I need help? Um, and at the same time, because it's my only my only hand, a lot of times there are times that I really do need to let people help me or ask for help. Sometimes things are just heavy to carry, or and so I can ask for help more often. So I've gotten a lot better with that. And so we know when it came down for it, I ended up being grateful about my rotator cuff being hurt and not being able to use my hand for a while. It made me sit still more than usual. And I had to ask for help a lot more. It made me have to think about, dawn on me, oh, you know what? This is something even a two-handed person would be asking for help for right now. Maybe I could ask for help. My friend Tracy always says that, I got two hands and I mean, three boxes, you don't need to do that by yourself, stuff like that. So, um, right now, my hand has been in a lot of pain since about Christmas time, and I have ignored it. So that's a recurring theme in my life, ignoring physical pain and just like pushing through, keeping on with life, and it'll go away. I'll be fine soon. Um, Not always a good thing to handle it that way. So my hand has been hurting for a while now, and my kids have been fussing at me like in the past week to go and find out what's going on with it. And I didn't want to find out because I don't want to know that I have arthritis in both of my knees. I'm only 42, but I fell a few years ago, like in my 30s. One winter, I fell like 2 or 3 times on the ice right onto my knees. And evidently, like injuries to your body are places where it weakens the joints or something. And it's places where arthritis can set in. And so I have arthritis in my knees, one worse than the other. And most of the time I'm fine, except when it's rainy or cold or, stuff like that. And the pain in my hand feels very similar to the arthritis in my knees. In my joints, the stiffness, the pain, the aching, the numbness, all of that kind of stuff. So I haven't wanted to go to the doctor for them to say that I have arthritis or something else that could get progressively worse as my life, progresses. And so I've been avoiding going. So yesterday I went on and I called the doctor and I made an appointment for today. And I had a conversation with L&G about it. And so I want to, in that conversation, was to, was the reason that I'm making this video. So I'm pulling it up on my phone right now. So she asked me how I was doing, and I was, telling her everything that I just now told you. And Louise Hay is one of our favorite authors, and she was saying she has this book called You Can Heal Your Life, which you need to just go ahead and get. But also she has this blog where like she lists all of the different kinds of diseases that might show up in your body alphabetically and connects it to the metaphysical reasons why it might be showing up in your body. So like what spiritually and mentally is going on for you that might be making this dis-ease show up in physically in your body. So L&G gave me that link in this chat conversation we were having. So I'm pulling it up right now. I'm gonna put this link in the description of this video so that you can find it and go look at stuff yourself. So what's interesting is that arthritic fingers is one of the things, and then arthritis is also here, and rheumatoid arthritis. So I'm just going to read to you arthritic fingers and arthritis in general. So it says for arthritic fingers that it might be inside of you a desire to punish, blame, and feeling victimized. And then for arthritis in general, it's feeling unloved, criticism, and resentment. So at first, like when you read something and you're like, man, I can see why they might think that, but that's not really me. I don't recognize that. That's not, what's going on for me. I didn't just feel that. I was like offended. Like, what the fuck? How's she gonna say I'm feeling unloved? Or why would I blame people? Or what else? Oh, I was really mad about the feeling victimized thing, because I have felt like a victim in my life, but now I really, in my conscious mind, I haven't felt like a victim around having one hand. And so, the fact that I was offended at this, a desire to punish, oh, that one, I was like, I am a nice person, punishing people for me. I like for what I'm going through. Like, why would I want to punish other people for my experience or blame people for me having one hand? Right. Okay. So the fact that I was so like upset about it or offended by it made me realize that there must be something in there that, it was bothering me, right? So back to my conversation with L&G. I read the link. I get upset. It started making me go inside. And in that moment, I realized what it was. So I said to her, that link is very insightful. Around having one hand, it is a life journey not to feel victimized or judged. Also, I feel like my one hand has had to take on lots of responsibility and rarely asks for help. So I think I have given my hand the burden of proving the world wrong. So what Louise is saying about arthritis in your fingers being about blame and being a victim Honestly, it is hard not to be angry with the world for making my hand prove that it is just as good as the rest of them. Okay, now I'm crying really hard, so I'm going to drive home and I'll talk to you later. Thank you. So it blew my whole mind. It just made me realize I was realizing it while I was typing it, because I started crying and I was like, what is this? Because I was realizing it hurts my feelings that I have any blame in me, that my one hand, because of the way the world treats me, because I walk through my life, with knowing the moment that people pity me in their eyes when they first meet me and realize that I have one hand, their eyes go from like, oh, nice to meet you, and then something in their eyes changes when they notice that I have one hand or whatever. And just growing up as a little girl, I mean, yeah, I felt like a victim. Because people would play with me when I brought all my dolls outside and then not play with me. I had a lot of really good friends growing up in my neighborhood, but I had people that teased me too. And as a teenager, some of you may hear me, have told the stories about how like a guy would think I was cute and then get up to me and realize I have one hand and start talking to one of my girlfriends instead, when me and him both knew he was coming to holler at me, stuff like that. So throughout my life, I felt like a victim, or just felt like maybe I wasn't as good. And I would in the wintertime walk with my long sleeve down, so that people wouldn't notice that that sleeve was empty on my right side. Or in the summertime when I had on short sleeves, I would walk through a crowd on my left, so that they would mostly see my left side and not my short side, stuff like that. But I have been proud that I have felt like I healed a lot of that stuff. I went and got a tattoo on my short arm. Let me show you if you haven't seen it. It's cute. A tattoo that means happiness, a travel tattoo. So I got that a few years ago. I just do things. I have my Nub Love movement, where Nub Love is you knowing your wholeness even when you look and feel broken. Because all of us have that. So all of us need some Nub Love, So I've been really proud about the things that I do to heal my experience having one hand. And I think it's an awesome responsibility that because I look broken, it makes other people feel inspired, that they look at me and say, wow, she looks like that and have to deal with everything that she goes through in this society, and she still shows up in joy and peace and working on her shit. Then I could be doing stuff in my life, or it makes people pay attention to where they feel broken and find their own wholeness. So I have, like, in my adult life, felt really grateful and taken on the responsibility of my body being a symbol of wholeness even when you look and feel broken, and so it's really hurting my feelings that, because I have to go to the doctor today to find out what's wrong with the only hand that I have, my only hand, that is making me realize that I have put so much burden on this hand to combat y'all bullshit. And I'm mad about it right now. I have a big no thank you for y'all, because a person shouldn't have to prove that they are just as good or just as strong or just as powerful as anybody else. We come here pre-approved by the Creator, already fully intact, fully powerful, fully fucking magnificent and beautiful. Having everything the Creator has and wanted us to have, and us being able to create whatever we want. And instead, what we do is we come here and we make each other feel like we got to prove our worth, and it is mine to heal. I accept that. It is mine to heal that I have allowed other people's mindsets to somehow, in the corners of my mind, define pieces of me. That my one hand is trying to prove all my life that it is just as good as your two hands. And it can do just as much as your two hands. It's mine to heal, And I just need everybody to understand that we have to stop doing this to each other. A lot of people aren't like me. They don't notice their own insecurities or their own resentment toward people, their own blame, their own victimhood. They don't recognize that as an opportunity to show up in their wholeness and to go within and into their eternity and find their wholeness. A lot of people just stay at stuck. A lot of people stay at it hurts. A lot of people stay at, well, since they shitting on me, I fuck them. I'ma shit on them. And it's just a cycle of everybody trying to shit on everybody because everybody is hating on everybody or looking down on everybody. So I'm gonna find my power over you now to show you, and I don't like it. I want us to be better and do better. So I'm taking responsibility and I'm expressing. I want you to know that I've had to think about, why don't I feel this way about being black? Like other things that this society attempts to constantly oppress me around. I'm female, I'm black, I come from inner city West Baltimore, poverty line. Why don't I feel resentment and blame toward America and white people and men? I've been raped. I've forgiven my rapist. Why don't I feel the same level of like the kind of resentment and blame that I'm recognizing about having one hand? And I realized yesterday that it's because I don't feel alone in those things. I look around, I see other black people, I see other women. I know other people have been raped. So it's been a part of my role in my life to be a voice and to connect with other people and find those other people. I'm a community activist. I'm an inspirational speaker. I teach people about how to resolve conflicts, while being honest and authentic in their shit. Like that stuff I haven't felt. I can join movements. I can start movements. I can, those things, they are isms and they impact me. But everybody was getting pulled over because they were black in my neighborhood. Everybody, a lot of women's voices aren't being heard simply because they are women. And, like those things I recognize and how they have impacted my life, but I can join with other people around those things. Around having one hand, I don't know anybody else who has one hand. I see other people, I meet other people once in a while, and I'm always happy when I do, like, oh, my tribe, my people, But in my daily life, I don't know anybody else who only has one hand. Excuse me, and who only, who every day of their life people stare at them, and they have to constantly. I have learned how to have compassion for you when you look at me like I'm less than you. That's a blessing to have figured out that's what that people's insecurities about me, people's judgments about me is a call for me to love them, a call for me to show compassion. So it's really blowing me that when it's really important to me, and I'm really happy that I have compassion for people who mistreat me and compassion for people who look at me like I'm less than them. It's really hurting my feelings that there are these corners of my mind where pain is now showing up in my one hand because I do have some resentment that this is even a society in a world where my one hand has had the burden of trying to prove something to somebody. I should not have to prove anything to anybody. So yes, I'm going to heal it. Trust and believe me, I'm going to heal this because I'm not walking around with your pain inside my body, creating pain inside of me. I'm not walking around feeling less than anybody or anything because I am whole and wonderful and fucking magnificent, whether I know it or not. I'm going to ride on that. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to clean the corners of my mind. I'm going to use this bullshit for fertilizer, and I'm going to grow. And at the same time, that does not excuse society's behavior for the way we treat one another. Every time you look at somebody negatively because they are fat or too skinny or too dark or too light, or they are wearing something that you think they shouldn't be wearing, and their hair is this color, pink or orange, or whatever it is about somebody that you think they shouldn't be wearing, doing, looking like, whatever, You do not know that what you are doing is making them feel alone, making them feel like they have something they need to lash out at and prove something. And we are one. So you are teaching them a lie. You are teaching them that they are less than, that they are different. We are all different. We're different aspects, but different aspects of fucking greatness. We are different aspects of beauty, of magnificence, of all power. We are not different aspects because one aspect is better than another. So if I show up in a body that's obese or too skinny or too dark or too light or half a head or in a wheelchair or one hand or blind or deaf or whatever it is, that's mine. That is not yours to look down on and make me feel negatively about, because you are helping people. Every time you do that, you're giving them a hurdle to jump over. Yes, it's my responsibility to jump over the hurdles, but how is it your right to put a hurdle in my path? How is that your right with your looks and your stares and your comments and your dumbass memes, because you don't have anything better to do in your life, because of your feelings of littleness and powerlessness and you not feeling like enough? In one little moment, you feel better because you look at somebody and go, she too fat to be wearing that. She brought her kids to school in her pajamas. If somebody bring their kids to school in their pajamas, it's probably because they are depressed and sad and going through whatever in their life, and it probably took everything in them to get their ass out of bed this morning and take their child to school. But they did it. If somebody is fat and wearing something that you think is too tight, you don't know that they got up this morning and they thought it was cute, and that's the one thing that's making them feel good about themselves today. It's not right for you to come and do your best to snatch that from nobody and put a hurdle in front of them and go, here, you supposed to be jumping over it. Here, you supposed to be, if I throw shit at you, you supposed to duck and dodge it, plant it, and use it for fertilizer. That is what I'm supposed to do with it. Yes. So I'm not blaming. Right now I am blaming. I'm not even going to lie. I'm hurt. And I'm angry. And I have some blame inside me. And I'm recognizing that blame is not where I want to be or where I'm supposed to be. And I need you to understand that this is a co-creation right here. You know, this is not just me feeling sorry for myself. I wasn't born like this. I didn't wake up like this. I only woke up like this because all day yesterday I had to deal with you looking at me like, how can she possibly with one hand be everything that I am and be like me, and I should pity her, I should whatever. Stop doing that to people. Every time you have a need to say something negative about how somebody else looks or is, notice that it's your own littleness. And in your littleness, you are feeling better about yourself to have a laugh at somebody else, to judge somebody else. But while you're doing that, you are putting hurdles in their paths and you are making them, I feel alone in having one hand. You know, I feel alone. And it's not a nice, fun place. You know, sometimes when I choose to be alone, that's fine. But to have something that I'm constantly having to remind myself that I am one with all of creation, constantly having to remind myself only because other people are constantly throwing things at me that say, you are not like us, you are not with us. I don't have to be exactly like you, but I am with you. I am different in the way that I show up, but when it all boils down to it, we are all one essence. And we have to stop teaching each other through our behavior and our bullshit words and looks and all of that stuff. We have to stop teaching each other that we are separate. Because not only is it untrue, it's dangerous. And it's unfair. And it's not right. And it's mean. You know, it's mean. And it's making me, we co-created pain in my hand. My only hand. Do you think it's right that in my only hand that I have, resentment has manifested? Me trying to prove that I'm just as good as you has manifested as pain in my hand, I take responsibility for my part in allowing it to settle and show up in my hand. I take responsibility for my part. And I'm asking you to take responsibility for yours. And whoever you are sending negative energy to in that way, in your judgments of how they look and dress and whatever. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to heal this. I know that I'm already all right. And cut that shit out. Y'all have a good day.